I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street. There's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Well, of course. It's been a long time since I've done the show, and I forgot that I got to take that thing off. Welcome. Welcome. We are here. It's Friday. Looks like very few of you got the notice that we would be here tonight. That's my fault. I probably should have went live last night, but we had too much things going on. And really, there was so much stuff coming in, and there was so much news happening, and so many questions, and so much chaos, both locally and nationally. And amazingly, it all dealt with basically the same thing that I thought, you know what, I'm just going to take it all in. I'm going to be a spectator tonight, and we will get our bearings, and we'll go live on Friday. And so that's what we're doing. And look, I would be doing this if it was just me talking to myself in a black hole someplace. So you can watch it live, or you can watch it later, or you can not watch it at all. It's all the same to me. But if you are here, I would ask that you please consider giving us a like. Hit the like on the YouTube pages. If you're on Facebook, you obviously can't do that. I don't know what happens on Twitter. Maybe give us one of those heart things. But the big thing is give us a like if you're on YouTube. Share the show with everyone you know. Help spread the word. Comment over there if you want to communicate. If you're here live, if you're here via the replay button in the future, comment down below, and we will get back to you one way or another. Something we haven't said here in just a minute is if you want to follow us, if you want to get information, you want to follow us on all of our YouTube channels, do all of that. We are on YouTube, The Political Spotlight, Rumble, Facebook, with 2 Facebook accounts for The Political Spotlight. There's X, that's all there, so you can follow us there. Studio Line, there's our email, my private email, the show email, it's all there, so you know what to do. And we're going to go ahead and get out of the way early. I just want to let you guys know that we're getting closer to the big premiere of the Bilbrey and Clark show, the show coming out on Saturdays. So if you're interested in taking a peek at that, go over to the YouTube page. That's youtube.com/at the Bilbrey Clark show, or excuse me, Bilbrey Clark show. No, the Bilbrey Clark show. You can also follow us on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Bilbrey Clark show. It's all the same there. I'm really excited. We've got the intro totally worked out, and we've had some body doubles come stand in for us for the introduction. I just can't wait. It's going to be amazing. Maybe I can give you a sneak peek right now. I don't know if I should or not. Maybe I Maybe I will. Give me a second. Let me figure out if I can figure out how to do this. I'm just going to give you a quick sneak peek. Here we go. Okay, here's a sneak peek.
It's the Bilbrey and Clark Show. Two middle-aged troublemakers, no script, zero political.
All right, you're going to have to tune in to see more of the body doubles. You're going to have to tune in. We got some comedy about this intro, but if you want to hear that, see the full thing, you want to hear more about this, tune in Saturday, the 27th of September. So that's not tomorrow. And it's not the next weekend. It's 2 weeks from tomorrow. So 2 weeks from tomorrow, tune into that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the few of you that are here because it's Friday and we're normally not here, and I don't think anybody else got the message. We're going to get into it. I've got a couple of things that I want to talk about. This is the 522nd episode of the show. It's the I titled it Extradition Waived and a Killer Caught. So obviously we're going to be talking about a couple of different things and things related to those things. Topic number one is going to be, we're going to be looking at the Steven Sumner case and the updates related to the Steven Sumner case. Steven Sumner, obviously, if you're not aware, is the gentleman, probably shouldn't say gentleman, is the former Madison County Councilor who has been accused, and not only accused, but he has been formally arrested and charged with 18 felony crimes against children, crimes of a sexual nature against children. He's looking at possibly 57 years in prison. He's been a fugitive from justice for the last 2 years. And so he was arrested after a tip was made earlier in the week. He was arrested on Tuesday along with his girlfriend. And so we've got some updates on that, and we're gonna talk about that. We also have information. We're going to be going through the information as it relates to the investigation into the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So we're going to be talking about that. There's some updated information, obviously, there that we'll need to cover that maybe you're not aware of or you haven't heard. Charlie's widow, man, that's crazy to say. Charlie's widow, his wife, Erica Kirk, just got done talking just a few minutes ago, actually, before going live. She was talking. She went and did a live broadcast from his studio. And it was definitely very touching. And, I think that's an important tribute and something that we will talk about and cover here in a minute. So that's what we're looking at. We're also going to talk about some of the updated information as it relates to some of the chaos that has been going on surrounding people's reaction to this situation. There are reactions that I will say, are appropriate, normal. There are reactions that are inappropriate and not normal. There are reactions that I have liked and reactions I have not liked. Some that are questionable on whether or not they breach, something that's maybe crossing the line of being First Amendment into possibly criminal. And some of those have been dealt with. And I'm also going to have some takes that not everybody's going to like, and I understand that. But I will explain to you why I feel the way that I do, and I will explain all of that to you as well. So we're going to be getting into to all of that. Give me just 1 second here, as I am trying to download something here that I need to get downloaded so that I can share it to you. So first up, we're going to talk about this situation with Steven Sumner. We do have new information as it relates to the situation with Steven Sumner. There is new information, and I want to make sure that you guys are aware of this. So when we broke the news that he had been arrested, and we talked about all of that, and we talked about, you know, what comes next. Is he, you know, people were saying, like, well, why didn't they bring him back? Why hasn't he been brought back? That doesn't happen. When you are jailed where you are arrested, they don't drag you 4, 5, 6 states away. They jail you where you are arrested, and then you have to waive extradition, or you don't waive extradition, and then you have to deal with that. That has to be dealt with, and all of that is a process. And sometimes it's quick, and sometimes it's not quick. We've definitely talked about that, and you know, there are cases in which it could take, you know, up to 45, 50, 60 days because of the court, you know, what's going on with the court situation. So that's the situation. However, thank God that is not what's going on here. Breaking news today. I posted this 7 hours ago on my social media, posted it everywhere. So it's not necessarily breaking news now, but it was several hours ago. Captured fugitive Steven Sumner and his girlfriend. His girlfriend is Sharon Bailey Barker. Sumner and Barker have both waived extradition and will have been and will be returned to Madison County without complication and in quick order. So out of Anderson, Indiana, Steve Sumner and his girlfriend, Sharon Bailey Barker, have both waived extradition and will be returned to Madison County to face charges. Sumner, coming from Kentucky, and this is what I wrote earlier, should be booked into the Madison County Jail sometime later today. I do believe he is back. I have not got an official formal statement on that yet, but I do believe that he is officially back. Not on the Madison County inmate website yet, but I am, from what my sources have said, I am pretty positive. I think that he may be back at this time. I am. Give me 1 second here. So that is definitely good information. So he is back. Sumner faces. Sumner coming from Kentucky, blah, 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 blah. While Barker will be coming from Maryland, she should be booked back into the Madison County Jail sometime on Tuesday, September 16th, 2025. Sumner faces 18 charges tied to alleged sexual activity with a girl under the age of 16. The most serious charge, rape, is a level 3 felony, carries a possible sentence of 10 to 57 years, along with fines of up to $120,000 if convicted. Barker is charged with assisting a criminal a felony offense. She was taken into custody in Maryland on Tuesday, September 9th. According to investigators, she provided key information that led to Sumner's arrest in Kentucky. Later the same day, at the time, Sumner was reportedly en route back to California. According to a probable cause affidavit beginning in March 1st, 2023, Barker harbored or otherwise helped Sumner with the intent to hinder his apprehension. In August of 2023, U.S. Marshals interviewed 2 confidential witnesses who said Barker worked as an accountant at the Payless supermarket on Scatterfield Road. The witnesses reported that Sumner would visit Barker during her work breaks, sometimes driving her to and from the store. Barker, according to the affidavit, would also get rides from coworkers to the 2200 block of North Broadway, where she was seen entering and spending time with Sumner inside a church building that he owned there. Which, listen, I heard that information as far back then. So that's, that's definitely information at the time. We were telling folks, this is what's going on. He is at this church. You guys need to be looking at this church. People need to be paying attention to what's going on at this church. And it was like nobody was doing anything with that. Nobody was paying any attention to that. It was really wild. I just couldn't believe that it was like an open secret. It was a very well-known secret, I guess I should say, that he was there. And it just felt as if the powers that be were like, and just kind of left it at that. Nobody really did anything to verify, to try to verify. Very, very peculiar. I think that this could have been wrapped up long ago had the powers that be been a little bit more willing to kind of take a look at what was going on around that church, do a little bit more cop-like work. We heard Kash Patel say today that the quick apprehension of the man that shot Charlie Kirk comes out to cops being allowed to be good cops, and that's very true. However, if you're in a situation where you have cops that are unwilling to be good cops, then, the hands are kind of tied. So the fact that they kind of slept on the fact that he was, possibly at the church during this time, led this into what it was, a 2-year situation where this man was on the run as a fugitive from justice. And that's wild to me, just wild, honestly. So it is what it is. But okay, back to my write-up about this. Barker quit her job allegedly on March 10th, 2023, telling coworkers she was going to visit her daughter in Maryland. But court documents state that she and Sumner instead went to Waynesville, North Carolina, where they stayed for approximately a month before being evicted from wherever they were staying for non-payment of rent. Barker's daughter reportedly knew about her mother's relationship with Sumner and confronted her about the allegations. According to the affidavit, Barker told her daughter that she didn't believe the accusations against him. She just said, "No, he's too good. He could not have done this. There's no way. He's such a good man. There's no way that Steven did this. He's too good of a man." I bet, let me tell you what I think. I think it's her car. He don't have no job, and he's driving around being like, "I own this car," like men do, like the men that do that, like worthless. I think that's what it was. It's such a weird situation with these two. All right. So anyways, the daughter didn't like it. Madison County prosecutor Rodney Cummings said a tipster possibly motivated by a $25,000 reward, provided key information that led to Barker's arrest in Maryland. During her arrest, Barker told investigators Sumner had driven her to Maryland to visit her mother and that he was on his way to California driving the blue 2010 Toyota Yaris. I was joking about saying it was her car. I don't know whose car it was. I hope we find that out. We will know who that is. Investigators currently know who it is. We don't know who it is, but they know who it is, and we will find that information out sooner rather than later. And so I can't wait. I can't wait to find this out because it will be a very interesting piece to the puzzle to see what the situation is. Now, there is another part to this, and I feel very compelled to read this. The political spotlight is myself, Kate Thornburg, and Brandon Rudd. It's just the three of us. There are a lot of people that we work with and do other things. I've got people that work behind the scenes and help do things. Obviously, we have a lot of sources, places, and then I have contributing correspondents, people who are on their own, doing their own thing that we team up with periodically. Sometimes we agree with these people. Sometimes we disagree with these people. These people do and say things that are of their own accord. They do not represent the political spotlight unless and until they are here and we're talking about that. Nor does the political spotlight represent them. And what we say is of our own accord and has nothing to do with them unless we are, combined. I say that to say, we have Catherine Callahan on here a lot, and I like Catherine Callahan. We're friendly. I've not known her very long. We've known her just for a couple of years now, had her on the show, and you guys know that. There are things that she says and does that I agree with. There are things that she says and does that I don't agree with. There are things that I say and do that she doesn't agree with, and things that I say and do that she does agree with. I want to be very clear about this. When Catherine reached out to me and asked about this idea of putting this $25,000 reward together and running it on the platform and me making up a screen for it and blasting it out and taking it all over and putting it places and reaching out to my media contacts and pushing it through there, I said I thought that was a great idea. I thought that was a fantastic idea. Bullshit. What's the thing? Money talks and bullshit walks, that kind of thing. I thought it was a great idea. I thought it was a very selfless idea. I thought that it was a good idea. And instantly people were like, oh, look at, they instantly attributed like bad motivation to it. And it's like, I don't care what the motivation is. I don't care if she's like, look at me, I got money to burn, I can do whatever. It did a very good thing. And listen, I fully believe, and no one will convince me otherwise, that Catherine's $25,000 reward was the absolute catalyst that resulted in this dumbass's butt sitting behind bars in the Madison County Jail tonight. He is in the Madison County Jail tonight because of Catherine Callahan. Period. Full stop. All right? But there's another issue we need to address. For those that continue to question whether or not the $25,000 reward money will be given to the tipster or tipsters, okay? Catherine Callahan stepped up and put the $25,000 of her own money on the table for information leading to the arrest of the suspects. She could have said the arrest and successful prosecution. But she did not. A lot of times, the reward money isn't just given on the arrest. There also has to be a prosecution or a successful prosecution, meaning that you've got to go all the way through that process, and you got to hope that the prosecutors do their job, and you've got to hope that the jury does their job, and you've got to hope that justice is served, and then and only then do you get the money. But that doesn't happen in all cases. Sometimes it says just information. Catherine's, our thing that we put together said the arrest. Okay? But you gotta think like common sense. Nothing in this world is lightning speed, just at the click of a button. You don't pick up the phone and say, hey, cops, I see the man down there, and money doesn't fall from the sky. There's a process. And it's not just a process in this situation. It is a process in any situation in which there is a reward. Any situation where there is a Crime Stoppers reward or anything. The $100,000 reward that they put out for the information leading to tips to the arrest of the assassin of Charlie Kirk. I don't know if the family will get that or not. I don't know. But if it is in play, it's the same situation. And that is this. Let me be clear. That money will be paid out to the rightful person or persons if and when the proper steps have been taken. In cases like this, it's not just as simple as money immediately being handed over, a check being handed over, pennies falling from the sky. Law enforcement has to thoroughly work through the investigation, making sure that the person or persons who came forward with the tips weren't somehow connected to the suspects. I don't mean that you can't be connected. I mean connected in a way that would allow for the suspects, in this matter, Sumner and Barker, to somehow benefit from the reward. There have been situations where people have gotten together and said, okay, well, we're at the end of our rope. We're at the end of the road. Shit's getting ready to hit the fan. It's getting ready to get serious. They've ran a scheme. People have gotten the reward, and then they've put it on those people's books, or they've put it to the defense. What we would not want to happen is we wouldn't want these people to have been turned in, Catherine to have to fork over $25,000, and then that $25,000 be turned around and put in Steve Sumner's defense. We would not want that to happen. I don't think it would be allowed to I don't think law enforcement would allow that to happen. So that investigation has to take its place. All cases in which a reward is put forward must thoroughly be investigated to ensure there is not some kind of a scheme in place. Everything has to be verified, clean, and on the up and up. Once that process is complete, which, again, let's be clear, has taken anywhere in the past on other cases, anywhere from 60 to 90 or more days in other situations. At that point, if that all checks out above board, the rightful tipster or tipsters will receive that reward. That's how these things work. It's got nothing to do with Catherine Callahan. That's what this process is. No one should be questioning whether the payout will happen or not. It will happen. Lastly, and probably most importantly, if you weren't a tipster, if you didn't pick up the phone and call the two people that then put in place of calling Beeman to make the arrest happen, if that wasn't you, it's none of your concern. It's none of their. Megan, that's I don't understand if you're not following. The law enforcement is investigating this. It has nothing to do with law enforcement putting the money forward. Law enforcement will run the investigation, and it's not an investigation into the money. It is an investigation into the case. And if and when they prove that the daughter of this person contacted law enforcement because they didn't like the fact that the Steven Sumner was running around with the mom and they thought he was creepy, and they pinpoint the reason she did it, which they will know that, and they might know it now. They might know it now. But it has to take a step. So law enforcement will run their investigation, and there will be a point where they will then contact Catherine, and they will say, you can release the money. When Beeman verified to Catherine that he was in custody, the very first thing she said wasn't, yes, good job, wow. The very first thing she said was, do I need to write the check? How do you want the money? And Beeman's response was, slow your roll. We have to look at all the players first. We have to make sure that this thing matches out. And so that's just common practice. That take Catherine out of it, take Madison County out of it, take anything. Anytime you have a situation where there's a reward, whether law enforcement puts a reward up or if it's a private donor or whatever. And let me be clear, a lot of times in rewards, 90% of the rewards are the family or the public putting up rewards. Law enforcement doesn't have endless amounts of money for them to just put rewards up. They're not doing that. They can't do that. That would be a big issue. You know, there might be times. What the hell? That scared the crap out of me. Hold on. I was being attacked. My phone got me. Sorry, that scared the hell out of me. Jumpy. Okay. Where was I? A lot of times you'll see where law enforcement will put like maybe something happens and they put a $5,000 reward up. And the family says, well, that's not enough. We want to put up another, we're going to put up another $15,000. So now you've got a situation where you've got a $5,000 reward from law enforcement, but a $15,000 from the family. So you got $20,000 total, but $5,000 is coming from law enforcement and $15,000 is coming from the family. Well, they don't dole that out at different times. They run the investigation, and once it's determined that it's okay and everything's on the up and up, they come together and they cut a check for $20,000 and they take care of that. So everything will be on board. Everybody's so quick to be like, they're going to prove that Catherine's going to, pull back on this and go against her word or something weird's going to happen. Relax, everybody. Relax. She's going to give the money. And when that happens, it'll be documented. It'll be released. And everything will be okay. And if the person is deserving of the reward, meaning they followed what's lawful because here's the deal. If this person somehow was committing obstruction of justice, harboring a fugitive, or any number of other felony crimes, you're not going to want to dole this money out to that person. So once they determine, and again, I'm going to say maybe they know it right now, but old boy just got back to Madison County this evening. The woman, she won't even be back until Tuesday. So slow everybody's roll. The money will be doled out. We'll cover it. It'll be shared. I'll put it to you this way. There's nothing that's happened or nothing that's been done to this point that should cause anyone to question, will Catherine follow through? There's just no way. I'll put it to you this way. If Catherine doesn't follow through on something that is lawfully legal and justified, if she pulls out, you'll never have to worry about her because that'll be the end of her. She will have lost all credibility and we'll never hear from her ever again. So you can look at it that way. It's a win-win. She's either going to follow through or we'll just never ever hear from her ever again. So I tend to believe that once she's given the go-ahead by law enforcement, it'll happen. Now, you're probably not going to get to see pictures or whatever, because just because the tipster did this, the tipster doesn't have to come forward. Maybe the tipster doesn't want people knowing. I mean, we will document as much as that person is comfortable with, and it might just be as much as saying like, hey, here's the check, block it out, block the name out. Here the check is, whatever. I give you my word, for as much as you believe that, if and when law enforcement says Catherine can give the money, and I keep saying if and when, meaning like that's a very long shot. You can rest easy knowing there's a 99.999% chance, or 99.999 reality that the money will be given over. So it would be a snowball's chance in hell that something would stop the money from not being given. I just don't foresee that happening. So I just want to put that out there, because I've not had to deal with it, but I've been seeing a bunch of people questioning her on comments places, and it's really crazy. It's honestly, it's asinine. It's people looking for the aha, I gotcha moment. And it's just like, God, aren't there bigger things to worry about? You know what I mean? Aren't there I don't, the tipster is Jamie and Sharon's daughter. I don't count Jamie as a tipster. I don't know. I've not heard anybody say that. Sharon's daughter is the tipster. Sharon's daughter called the victim. Victim is Jamie and her children. Jamie called law enforcement. To me, Jamie's not a tipster. Jamie's the victim. Because really what happened, because if we follow that logic, Sharon's daughter called Jamie. Jamie called Catherine. Catherine contacted Beeman. No, Jamie, I don't believe Jamie got in touch with Beeman. I think what happened was she couldn't, and maybe I have that wrong. If I have that wrong, whatever. But Jamie's the victim. That would be like Catherine saying, well, I called Beeman, so I get half the money. We're going to split the money 3 ways. I don't know. That's the money aspect of it is the weirdest thing. The most important thing is that we got a man who is wanted for 18 felonies. The money is a very minor issue, and I think probably can be dealt with at a more appropriate time. The fact that the money is the main issue before, like the wheels of the transport van haven't even cooled down, and it's like this is the biggest issue, is weird. But I hadn't heard people saying that Jamie was the tipster. I don't know, that's kind of strange to me. But that, in my opinion, that would be like saying, well, we've got to split we've got to split the money 3 ways. We got to split it between Sharon's daughter, Jamie, and Catherine, because Catherine called Beeman. So I don't know. And if we're gonna give it, if we're gonna give it to Jamie and Sharon's daughter, Sharon's daughter, in my opinion, gets the $25,000. Period. That's my belief. It's not my money. It's not my call. That's just my belief. But it's like, well, hell, why don't we give it to Sharon too? Because Sharon told where he was. She didn't have to tell that he was in Kentucky. She did. So she's kind of a tipster too. See, that's where we start getting real weird with it. So I say it'll go to who it's supposed to go to. They'll all work that out. That's somebody else's decision other than mine. And I am most happy that it's going to, I am most happy that these people have been apprehended. That's my primary goal. Yeah, that I don't know. I mean, it's because daughter was on a cruise with no service and didn't know the number. But she did have service to call Jamie. She didn't know the. That's no, that's weird. I don't know what the deal is there. But when we start saying things, see, that's why this starts getting very convoluted. Because now we're saying things like, well, there was no service and the daughter couldn't use the internet, but she was able to call Jamie. Well, that's strange. Okay, well, that being said, in my opinion, that still doesn't make. I like Jamie. I've got no problem with Jamie, and I'm not saying this, and that's the first I've ever heard. I would never have thought anybody would have said that. I would never in a million years say that Jamie's a tipster. The reward for Jamie is getting this man off the street and healing. That's that. All right. So that's the update. FYI, I will show you. I don't have the mugshot for Sharon, whatever her name is. This busted looking face. Here she is here. She looks like she's two different people. There's that. Here's the mugshot from Mr. Sumner himself. Here he was while he was handcuffed on the side of the street. Here is his mugshot while back in custody at the Madison County Jail. And it's good. It's a good thing to know that these people are where they are or on their way to be where they are. She will be back in Madison County by Tuesday. And so Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening, we'll have her mugshot as well. So, okay, that's all I've got to say about that. Moving on now to Charlie Kirk, the Charlie Kirk situation. So the FBI and the police in Utah held a press conference last night. The press conference was very peculiar. The FBI didn't talk. And it was very strange. Put a pin in that thought. Sorry, I have one last comment about. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I have one last comment about the situation in Madison County. And that is this. All of the people that have been talking about this, all of the comments, all of the back and forth, whether the money should go to Five Guys and Fries or whether it should, is it going to be given or not given? Where's he at? Is he back? Is he not back? Why didn't they bring him back? Is he coming here? Is she coming here? What's he charged with? What's she charged with? Who's on first? All that stuff. The one thing I find very odd is this. You know, the oddest thing about this arrest of former Madison County Councilor Steven Sumner is the fact that none of the elected officials of Madison County government, past or present, has said a word about this arrest. And I'm not including Beeman. I'm talking about to my knowledge, and if I'm wrong, someone point me in the right direction. I'm talking about Bethany Keller, Diane Likens, Jody Norick, Rob Steele, Jonathan Culp, Christy Gabowski, Scott Green, Olivia Pratt, Rick Gardner, John Richwine, Todd Culp, Linda Smith, former Anthony Emery, Ben Gale, Darlene Likens, Mikhail, that freak Mikhail. To my knowledge, none of these people have said anything about this. None of these people, Mellinger, former sheriff, none of these people have said, I'm glad. None of these people have said, this is a good thing. These people are all sitting quiet with their hands twiddling the air and their thumbs up their asses. And I'm also going to say something. Used to, when I would post links, I would go through, not in the comment, but I would go through down at the bottom where it lets you tag people, and I would tag people who are connected to the areas that I would be talking about. So if I was doing a show that primarily related to Winchester and Randolph County, I would tag the friends on my friends list on Facebook from the Winchester and Randolph County area. If I was doing a show about John Sproles, I would tag the people from mostly Henry County or others that I knew from other areas that would be interested. If I was doing a show about Muncie, Delaware County, I would tag my Muncie, Delaware County friends. And in doing that, there would be times that I would get people that would say, hey, please don't tag me. And I would say, okay, no big deal. The people that I tagged are people that mostly at some point or another have asked to be tagged or followed, or sometimes I would tag somebody that hadn't asked, but I knew they would be really interested. And anytime somebody would say, hey, please don't tag me in the post, I would say, okay, and I wouldn't tag them again. Well, for the most part, I stopped doing that. I now, people know, and then there's enough people that tune in nightly, I don't do that anymore. I just post it, and if people want to see it, they come to it, whatever. Okay? Back when I used to tag people, anytime I would do something about Madison County, I would tag a couple of the elected officials that I was able to tag that way. One of them being Bethany Keller. And Bethany Keller reached out to me at one point and said, hey, please don't tag me anymore. Anytime you say or do anything about Madison County, I watch. I promise I'm going to watch it. And so just don't tag me. And I thought, okay, no big deal. So I stopped. I stopped doing it that way. However, anytime I am talking directly to Bethany, not as someone I want to watch the show, but anytime I am directing something at Bethany as an elected official, she can bet her ass I'm going to tag her. And the fact that she removes her name from the tag, to me, is flippin' disgusting. If Bethany can't handle a tag on social media, she can walk her ass off the council as fast as anybody else. I tagged you, Bethany, because you're sitting elected official, and I wanted a statement or a comment from you. I didn't tag you because I cared if you watched the show or not. I tagged you as a sitting elected official. And the fact that you walked through and went through the effort of untagging yourself, to me, is as backwards. It's ignorant, just like the rest of your asshole counselors over there that don't do their damn shit. So when you do that, just understand it riles me up, and I think that it makes you just as piss poor as the rest of them. FYI. I just saw that, and it really worked me up. So just let you know. Okay. Now, back to the other situation. So the press conference last night, thank you, William. The press conference last night in Utah was strange to me because the FBI didn't talk. It was very strange. I've got to be honest. I think that I hate saying that Kash Patel has not been the FBI director that I thought he would be. So far, I've been disappointed in a lot of the actions or inactions that I've seen from Kash Patel. Now, there is not one bit of me that attributes the quick action and the quick arrest of this 22-year-old man. I don't attribute that to Kash Patel or Dan Bongino. They weren't out on the street beating the pavement. They weren't in the interrogation rooms. It was the cops. It was the cops on the ground. It was the special agents on the ground, the people doing the work that I attribute with this arrest. There is a report that Kash Patel and Bongino was on a phone conversation with the team, the task force, and basically went off on just a completely unhinged tirade. And that, he was using profanity, calling them all Mickey Mouse, and the sources that have talked about this stated that they felt that the reason that Patel was doing this was because he has pressure to make sure that something happened very quickly, because he needed to prove that he was up to the challenge in this situation. And if that's in fact the case, that in and of itself makes me believe he is not up to the challenge. So I just want to say, for the record, whatever's been going on here, I applaud the men and women on the ground. Moreover, I applaud the heartbreaking decision that a father had to make about turning his son in. And I've had a lot of conversations with people today. So basically what happened was the assassin in this situation, he has come forward and talked to his family, and his father is a law enforcement officer, or I don't know if he's still or if he is a former law enforcement officer, or is still a law enforcement officer, but I know he was a deputy sheriff for a period of time, and I believe that he was an elected sheriff in Utah for at least some time. And I've heard people say that they just can't believe the father would turn him in. And how could a father do that? Well, listen, I understand it both ways. I understand there are people out there that are like, hey, there's no way. I'm telling you, there's somebody watching this right now. My grandmother. I could, if I murdered whole fields of people, my mother would turn me in. But if I went to my grandmother, ain't none of you people ever going to see me again. Just telling you. She wouldn't like it, but she's not going to turn me in. That's just the way she is. She's old school, and you just don't ever go against family. Now, that's not necessarily right, and I understand that. I mean, that's just how she is, but that's how she is. You know what I mean? I'm going to tell a story she'll probably kill me for, but there was a period in time where my uncle liked to be a little rambunctious, and he had gotten into nothing serious, but a little bit of driving trouble. And the police were dealing with him, and my grandma, I don't even know how my grandmother got to where she was, but she got to the point where she came up upon the scene and she saw that they had him, and I guess they were handcuffing him, and while they were handcuffing him, I guess they were going to give him a little tune-up with like the billy club, and my grandmother like went charging up, and one of the cops was there, and he told her to stay back behind the line, back behind the car or whatever. And she told him no, and she charged up there. And that cop said, I can see why he does why he's like he is, because you don't listen either. And it was kind of a funny moment. We kind of laugh and joke about that now, but that's just how my grandma is. And, you know, I get it, and I respect that. But I can also see what this father did as a very loving action. I'm sure he was heartbroken. I'm sure he was crushed. I'm sure he has questions. I'm sure he's angry. It's okay to be angry at your children. It's okay to be angry at family. It's okay to be angry at your friends. It's okay to not understand why they do things they've done, and to be disappointed. And you can, you know, hate the sin, not the sinner, that type of thing. You can not like what they've done, and you can be disappointed, and you can share that disappointment. But it goes beyond that, in my opinion. This man, being a law enforcement or a former law enforcement officer, he knows that when a suspect is a fugitive, when they are on the run, actively on the run, they're not thinking straight. They have tunnel vision. And as the net starts to close in and close in and close in, they start doing more and more desperate things. More people can get hurt. Dumb things can happen. And a lot of times the suspects will hurt other people as it starts to wind down, and or they'll get hurt and or even killed themselves. And so this father taking the action to turn his son in, which I know is heartbreaking, and as badly as the Kirk family is and the friends, they're hurting. And now the family of this man is hurting in much differently, because this man's still alive, so it's definitely a different pain. But they're hurt too. I saw it, a libertarian friend of mine said, you know, just an absolute waste of 2 young lives. And that is very true. This was just an absolute waste of 2 very, very, very young lives. Tweetybird, I don't know. I heard that there was a minister involved. I don't know that he was he's a minister, but I definitely know he was a police officer. But they're in Utah. They're probably Mormon. If they're not Mormon, they're definitely Christian. They're probably religious. So I would say that they're connected. And Alva, you're exactly right. The son is more than likely going to die either way. Dying on the run, you die soon. Dying because of the death penalty, God knows how long that could take. But being in prison definitely gives you more time. You know, and so give me a second. So, Charlie Kirk, suspected assassin, turned in by father. Police did arrest him yesterday. The man is identified as 22-year-old Utah resident Tyler Robinson. That's the guy. And everything I'm hearing is he made the shot between 220 yards and about 400 yards, so between 200 and 400 yards. And people are like, "Oh, he had to be a trained assassin. This had to be a professional hit." No. With the gun that allegedly he used with the scope while he was proned out on the roof for a long period of time, having all the time and sitting there and breathing and relaxing. I know he was probably nervous, but going through breathing techniques, any hunter could do that. It would not take me a very long period of time to put the same gun in your hand and to walk you through a couple drills at the range, and you could do the same thing even if you have never touched a gun before. It's not that difficult of a shot. Yes, it's difficult if you've never touched a gun. If you just lose your mind tonight and you decide you're going to do something crazy tomorrow, you might not make it. But if you've ever spent any time with a gun in your hand, it is not an insane shot. Okay. Let's see here. Wednesday, September 10th, Robinson arrived at Utah Valley University. They said that the suspect arrived around 11:52 a.m. local time on Wednesday, the 10th. The suspect then went to the Los Center on campus, and he looks like a college kid. I mean, he is a college age kid. He fits right in. You know what I mean? It fit right in. All of the people that were there, they have been able to track his movements on the campus through stairwells up to the roof, across the roof to the shooting location. 12 p.m., the start of the event. Turning Point USA's event at the university courtyard featuring Kirk kicked off. Massive crowd formed around the white tent with the text reading, "American Comeback and Prove Me Wrong." An event organizer told Fox News that the digital that around 1,400 people had RSVP'd for the event. Now, it looked like far bigger crowd than 1,400 people. I'll be honest. That's probably what RSVP'd, but it looked like 3,000 or 4,000 people there. I'm very bad at that, guesstimating the size of crowds. I always guess higher, but I don't know. It looked like a lot of people. The shots were fired at 12:23 p.m. Just horribly sad. University spokeswoman Ellen Trainer told Fox News that the shooting began with just one shot at 12:23 p.m. and came from a building located at around 200 yards from the speaker. So 200 yards is definitely a doable shot. Kirk was answering a question from an individual in the audience when shot was fired, hitting him in the neck. Kirk was transported to the local hospital. Students and people attending the event can be seen running, as we are aware. Shooter jumped down. About 12:30, campus was cleared. Building to building, escorting students and staff off campus. The campus was immediately evacuated, shut down. Classes were suspended through September 14th. According to a school spokesperson, the police, in conjunction with the Orem Police Department, the University Police, Utah Department of Public Safety, and the FBI, started investigating the shooting, almost immediately. At 12:53, FBI Director Kash Patel said agents responding. We are closely monitoring reports on the tragic shooting involving Charlie Kirk at Utah University. Valley University, Patel said. Our thoughts are with Charlie, blah, 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 blah. At 1:40 p.m., President Trump confirms Kirk is dead, as we are aware. At 4:21 was when Patel announced that the one guy was in custody, which was the start of the weirdness. Patel then at 5:59 announced that the suspect was released. Thursday, September 11th at 7:15 a.m., and this is their time, Mountain Time, Utah police hold news conference on manhunt. Investigators said they had obtained security camera video from the university campus showing a suspect dressed in all black. Robert Bowles, the FBI special agent in charge of the Salt Lake City field office, spoke at the event alongside Utah Department of Public Safety Commissioner Bo Mason. After the shooting, we were able to track his movements as he moved to the other side of the building, jumped off the building, and fled off the campus into a neighborhood. Now, this is what they are saying that Kash Patel was so upset about, that the FBI agents and the police on the ground had video of the assassin, and that they did not share them with Kash Patel for around 12 hours. Now, maybe that's crazy that they didn't share them with Kash for 12 hours, being the director of the FBI. But I also know that Kash wasn't an integral part of the investigation. So it's like, whatever, dude, you know, it's kind of like a need to know basis. And, you know, we got shit going on here. We're running an investigation. You're in Washington, D.C. tweeting. We'll get it to you when it makes sense. I don't know. Maybe he should be mad about that. I think that he's just throwing a fit, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Authorities recover suspected murder weapon. That was pretty quickly. The weapon was a high-powered bolt-action rifle. The rifle was recovered in a wooded area where the shooter had fled. The FBI laboratory started analyzing the weapon. They also collected footwear, impression of the palm print, forearm prints for analysis. We are not sure how far he has gone. Investigators added they believe Kirk's killer is of college age. 9:48 a.m., FBI released photos of person of interest. This is when they had released the photos. There was a lot of confusion about people saying that they thought that he was the bullhorn guy. If you've watched any of the videos whatsoever, you know who I'm talking about. It was a guy that Charlie had had a debate back and forth with on a university in Oklahoma, I believe, a couple months ago. And I'm going to be really honest. It looked a lot like him. The pictures they released when they were grainy looked a lot like the bullhorn guy. Here's why you've got to be careful with that stuff. Because I watched the debate. The bullhorn guy was an asshole. I believe Charlie Kirk nailed him 100%. He got it right. The guy was a narcissist, whatever. But the guy had a right to be an asshole and a provocateur if he wanted to be one provocateur to another. Okay, whatever. I don't have a big deal. The guy wasn't violent. He was just spouting words off, and that's okay. That's great. That's what Charlie's there for. However much we like or dislike the bullhorn guy, it's extremely irresponsible to say he's the murderer and blast his picture everywhere. Lord, you're liable to get that guy killed. So that's why things like this are very touchy. And as somebody who wants as much information and as much transparency as possible, I'm like, you know, I definitely get why they're very careful about releasing things. Good evening, Brenda. So they did release the pictures asking for help, obviously, in identifying the suspect. And, you know, anytime you do this, like, look, it might be grainy, it might be hard, but, like, if they showed me a grainy picture of my brother, I would know it was my brother. If you show me a grainy picture of my dad, I'm going to be like, oh, yep, that's my dad. You know, I could tell my dad from his shoulder and his forearm, from his elbow. You know what I mean? So, like, the minute that this picture goes on, the people in this kid's life know who it is. You know, that's just that. I mean, you know, you're going to know your people, you know, and it is what it is. 10:44 a.m., FBI offers a reward for help cracking the case. The FBI said in a post on X that it was offering a $100,000 reward. I hope that people get that immediately. I hope that's given. I hope they don't pull back on that. I hope they do it. You know what I mean? The whole hand signal thing, I just don't buy into all of that. I watched the video. I've probably watched the video 1,000 times now. I've watched it from the about 40 feet out from the left side of Charlie. I've watched it from about 10 feet from the right side of Charlie, and I've watched it from the shot right in front of him from 10 feet. I don't believe that there was anyone giving any hand signals. I think that it was just, I mean, man, if somebody watched me in public or if you're just videoing me out, you guys would think that I was signaling the end of the world. I am so fidgety and scratching my head and doing all this stuff that it would look like I was landing an airplane. And so I get it. I get why people have a hard time accepting these things. You need a reason for shit to happen. And it's so much easier to say, oh, this happened. And, and I understand sometimes there are very serious, questionable things that happen. I don't think that's what happened in this case. Everybody's weird and saying, oh, his shirt was weird. It looked like it was like bunged up. Did he have a blood pack in his shirt? No, he was wearing a bulletproof vest. Charlie Kirk very frequently, if not always, while he was out in public doing these college events, wore a soft body armor underneath the shirt. And it oftentimes, if you go back and you look, a lot of times he's in sweatshirts, but if you ever see him when he's in a t-shirt like he was, you can definitely tell. And if you've ever worn a vest, like a bulletproof police vest, you know what it does to outside clothing like that. And I mean, I've seen him in countless other videos, and I've seen it. He knew the risk, but a bulletproof vest is not. It's not going to protect your neck or your head. Everyone keeps saying like, oh, it was a precision shot to the neck. No, it wasn't a precision shot to the neck. You wouldn't aim at the neck. The dude was shooting for his head and he missed. This was a monumental miss that was right on point. If he would have had that same miss, and instead of it being down, if it would have been this way, Charlie would still be alive. Or, you know what I mean? So, listen, I'm a believer. I don't believe, I don't believe. I know for a fact that God does not will evil to happen. God did not want Charlie to die, but there is free will, and evil happens, and God's will comes from the action that goes, and there are bigger plans that will come from this. I believe. It's a horrible thing. It's a tragedy. It is what it is. Friday, September 12th, 8 a.m., Trump announced suspect was in custody, which, again, I think is weird. I don't know. I mean, I know Trump and Charlie were friendly. it's the need to be like, I need to be the one that does it. I need to do it. That stuff's weird to me. 9:30 a.m. at the interview, we live streamed the interview, or excuse me, the press release. Tyler Robinson was announced. The Utah resident was announced. And basically, they said that investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced an incident recently in which Robinson had come to dinner prior to September 10th, and that a conversation with another family member had sparked up, and Robinson mentioned the fact that Charlie Kirk was coming to the college campus. They talked about why they didn't like him together and the viewpoints that he had. Kash Patel said that Robinson had been taken into custody at 10 p.m. on Thursday, September 11th, 2025, less than 34 hours after the assassination. He says the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period. I'm very happy. I was afraid that this was going to be another Butler thing where this kid was going to off himself, or that he would go out in a blaze of glory, and we wouldn't get to the bottom of answers. We wouldn't get to the bottom of this. They need to watch this kid, strip him naked. Do not let this guy off himself. Watch this kid, and let's get to the bottom of this. Okay? I'll tell you exactly, Tweety Bird, what Charlie said. Charlie said that often that he was, in his mind and his belief, working God's will, and that his life was to be used the way that the Creator had planned it. So he knew the risk, and there shouldn't be risk. I agree with Megan and other people. I mean, there should not be a risk when people are speaking. But it is what it is. But yeah, he would definitely, nobody wants to die, but it's out of his hands. Well, I'll get to that in a moment. The FBI said that they fully believe that there's only one person responsible for what happened, and that person is in custody, and he will be charged soon. A roommate of Robinson shared with investigators messages affiliated with the contact, Tyler, stating that there was a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush. Police had announced earlier in the week that a bolt action, I don't know why I say earlier this week, that a bolt action rifle was recovered after the assassination. Messages from the contact, Tyler, also mentioned that he had changed outfits. Cox noted that when Robinson had different clothing on when he was first spotted on campus, then changed clothing on the roof. According to the governor, Robinson then changed back into the clothing at some point, so that when he was apprehended, the clothing matched the clothing he had on before the shooting on the university. Utah State University confirmed that Tyler Robinson, the suspect arrested in the killing of Charlie Kirk, briefly attended Utah State University for one semester in 2021, the school said in a statement. They could also confirm that he was a pre-engineering major and took classes consistent with that major for his one semester. That's very strange. Tweety Bird, you're asking really weird questions. Like, I don't know. No one can know what's going to happen. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he would be very hurt. His wife went and spoke tonight. I thought she did a fantastic job. Matter of fact, we'll listen to just a bit of this. I think she did a fantastic job. Very, very strong, and these people are people of immense faith. I think that's what people need to understand. I think these people don't realize the faith that these people have. So they have a faith that makes them do things that might seem odd to other people because they are so strong in their faith.
Good evening. My name is Erica Kirk. Charlie Kirk is my husband. I first want to thank the local, state, and federal law enforcement who worked tirelessly to capture my husband's assassin so that he can be brought to justice. I want to thank the first responders who struggled heroically to save Charles's life, and the police who acted bravely to make sure that there were no other victims on that terrible afternoon. I want to thank the officers who have protected our Turning Point USA family these past 2 days. And I want to thank the Turning Point USA board, the COO, Justin Strife, and my husband's chief of staff, the amazing Mikey McCoy, for all their work in these terrible days to be the stability for our family and for the wider Turning Point USA family as well. My heart is with every one of my husband's employees who lost a friend and a mentor. I want to thank the staffers of his amazing Charlie Kirk show, who helped him broadcast from this studio, this chair. Every day he loved it. He loved what he did. I want to thank the millions of people who have shown their love for Charlie here in Phoenix, across America, and worldwide. I want to thank my husband's dear friend, Vice President Vance, and his phenomenal wife, Usha, for their love and support. You guys honored my husband so well bringing him home. You both are tremendous. I want to thank President Trump and his incredible family for the same. Mr. President, my husband loved you. And he knew that you loved him too. He did. Your friendship was amazing. You supported him so well, as did he for you. 2 days ago, my husband, Charlie, went to see the face of his Savior and his God. Charlie always said that when he was gone, he wanted to be remembered for his courage and for his faith. And one of the final conversations that he had on this earth, my husband witnessed for his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Now and for all eternity, he will stand at his Savior's side, wearing the glorious crown of a martyr. Charlie loved life. He loved his life. He loved America. He loved nature, which helped him always bring him closer to God. He loved the Chicago Cubs. And my goodness, did he love the Oregon Ducks. Want me to say go Ducks, so I have to since they play on Saturday. So go Ducks.
Okay. You can see the rest of that. It's all over YouTube if you feel so inclined to watch the rest of this. I do want to clarify something. This has just popped up. Matt Robinson, the father of Tyler Robinson, allegedly assisted in the capture of the suspect's son in the killing of Charlie Kirk. Utah Governor Spencer Cox said at a press conference on Friday that Utah resident Tyler Robinson was taken into custody in connection with the fatal shooting. President Trump was the first to confirm that the suspect had been placed in custody. Trump said that a minister and a suspect's father played a key role. So two different people, a minister and the suspect's father, played key roles in persuading him to surrender. He said the father drove the man to police headquarters. Kirk, a conservative activist, co-founder of Turning Point USA, was fatally shot at Utah Valley University on Wednesday. Matt Robinson, the father, is a registered Republican, according to the public records reviewed by Newsweek. However, the suspect, Tyler, had not voted, although friends of his and family members have stated in the last couple of years he had become more politically motivated, and it didn't state which side of the aisle that he was in, but that he was becoming more politically active or in tune, and that he did have a massive dislike for Charlie Kirk. It is important to understand, and I want to make this clarification. Earlier reports indicated that Matt Robinson, the father, was a veteran of the Washington County Sheriff's Office. However, the Washington County Attorney's Office said that reports that tied Mr. Robinson to the Washington County Sheriff's Office was not accurate. That Robinson does not have ties, at least, to the Washington County Sheriff's Office. The individual arrested is not related to Washington County law enforcement in any way. People need to be aware that Matt Robinson is a fairly common name. There are multiple people with the same name, even in that area. The attorney's office said in a statement posted to Facebook that, again, Matt Robinson was not the elected sheriff of the Washington County Sheriff's Office or a sheriff's deputy in any capacity with the Washington County Sheriff's Office. So I want to make that very, very clear. Yeah, he drove his son there. So, said Utah Governor Spencer Cox said that a family member of Tyler Robinson, the father, contacted a family friend on Thursday, who then informed the Washington County Sheriff's Office of information indicating that Tyler had either confessed or implied involvement in the incident. Cox said Tyler was not a student of the Utah Valley University. A family member of Tyler's was interviewed by investigators. The family member said that Tyler had become more political in recent years. Has mentioned that Kirk was coming to Utah Valley University to another family member before a dinner. So that's that. Oh yeah, well, listen, if you pick up a gun and you kill someone because of your words, but their words, I would definitely call your views extreme. I think that's pretty safe to say. Okay. Before we leave out on this, before we roll out, I want to say a couple of things about how this is related to things at home. I think that this is very important to do so. When this news first broke, and we first talked about this on Wednesday evening during episode 521, The Death of Intelligence, I talked about the post made by a Muncie man who was the president of the Human Rights Commission in Muncie, and that his comments were very concerning. Specifically, the comment that Charlie Kirk, deserved this, implying a man deserved to be killed because of his thoughts. And this president of the Human Rights Commission, Stephen Nip, said, I hope he is only the first. Meaning, and words are important. I can only take that to mean that he hoped that more people died, I can assume, because of their thoughts. Give me 1 second. Sorry, give me 1 second here. So when he made this comment, I had on the show that night called for his resignation immediately. Posted about it, talked about it, shared it everywhere. I think, I don't know if other people had shared it, but I think we were among some of the first people to share the post out publicly and call for the resignation. I asked for him to resign, and if he would not resign, I asked for the council or the mayor, whoever at the time, I didn't know, was the appointing body, to remove him if he would not. After the show ended, I sent out an email to the mayor, to the communications director, and to the mayor's attorney, to all 9 council members and the council attorney, telling them what I had done. I had asked for his resignation, and that I called on them to make statements, and that if they did not make statements, that would be problematic, and that they needed to remove him if he did not. In pretty quick order, I received a statement back from the city of Muncie, and I started receiving statements back from various other people. Of course, Wish TV started running it. Everyone and their brother started commenting and posting on it and having different thoughts and saying different things. People started bringing up Ryan Webb and all of that. And listen, I'm not going to get into a bunch of back and forth with this. I'm simply going to say this. For anybody out there that wants to say that Ryan Webb's comments were derogatory or bad or hateful or whatever, you are certainly within your right to have that opinion. But I would absolutely challenge any of you to share with me. Send it to me in Messenger. Send it to me in email. It's very easy to get in contact with me. Right here's all the contact information. Send me pictures, screenshots, video links of Ryan Webb making comments in which he wished death on an individual. He rejoiced in someone's death and or called for other people to die because of their political thoughts. not saying, I believe there are two genders, not saying, I think that there need to be fathers in the home, or whatever things that people don't like. You can not like his comments, and you can believe his comments are nasty and rude, and you could want him removed for the nasty comments and rude comments. But we have to have a baseline starting point where we say, look, we understand there's a difference between a nasty or rude comment and wishing someone is dead, being happy that someone died because of their thoughts, and hoping that others die because of their thoughts. So that's the starting point in my mind. I want to start off by saying I've seen a lot of trash individuals posting nasty comments, and I've not said a thing about any of them. The reason I spoke about Steven Nip and I called for Steven Nip's, you saw that I didn't say Steven Nip needs to shut down his business, his hair salon. I didn't say that because I don't think that. I don't care what happens. The marketplace will deal with him. People will go or won't go or whatever, and that'll sort itself out. That's how things happen. I called for him to resign or be removed from his public position, his position as a public official, because of what he said and the consequences that relates to that. And I still stand behind that. If Steven Nip had just been a hairdresser, you would have never heard me mention him. I would never have said a thing about him. Ever. I wouldn't have cared. So that's that. What are you saying you didn't say, Tweetbird? I'm not saying you said anything. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not talking about you in any way. You said, I didn't say that. I only agreed with you. His comments were uncalled for. I don't know. I'm not talking about you in any way. I'm just talking. I'm talking about other comments from other people. I'm starting off at a baseline because we're going to get someplace here in a minute. So the comments, and because we haven't been on since this happened, so I have to go through this. And you said that night, I believe, and rightfully so. I mean, I definitely understand that, and I knew you were saying the right thing. So that morning, the city of Muncie released the following statement. The city of Muncie unequivocally condemns the recent comments made on social media by Steven Nip, president of the Muncie Human Rights Commission. His remarks, which advocate for violence and retribution, are wholly unacceptable and run counter to the mission of the Human Rights Commission as well as the values of our city. He didn't call for retribution. He was talking about retribution, commenting, but he did talk about violence and advocate for violence. The city of Muncie remains committed to fostering an environment where differences can be addressed constructively and peacefully. Mr. Nip is an appointee of the previous Muncie City Council. There's no need to say that. They could just say he was. To me, the city council just keeps on rolling. The previous city council is this city council. They've been there, whatever. Anyways, Mayor Ridenour is encouraging the current council to take swift action and has all confidence that they will. The Human Rights Commission meets at City Hall on Monday, September 15th at 4:30 p.m. Okay, after that, directly, the City of Muncie Mayor, the City of Muncie Common Council, and the City of Muncie Clerk issued the following statement. The elected leaders of the City of Muncie unanimously condemn the inappropriate and offensive remarks made by Steven Nip concerning the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We call for his immediate resignation. Early this morning, the mayor issued a statement as such on social media and requested the city council to take swift action. The city council has requested Mr. Nip's resignation and will take the official steps needed for removal if that resignation is not forthcoming immediately. The next meeting of the Human Rights Commission is set for 4:30 p.m. Monday, September 15th. As president of the Muncie Human Rights Commission, Steven Knipp has broken the trust placed in him by the community. The Human Rights Commission exists to protect our citizens from hate, yet his words have only inflamed tensions, undermined its mission. His removal is both justified and necessary. And this is coming from the City of Muncie Mayor, the City of Muncie Common Council, and the City of Muncie Clerk. Okay? Then a short time after that, I received this from the Democrat caucus of the City Council, which the caucus is represented by 4 people: Harold Mason, Sarah Gullion, William McIntosh, and Nora Powell. For immediate release, Muncie Democratic City Council members' response to Human Rights Commission President comments. Muncie, Indiana, September 11th, 2025. The Democratic members of the Muncie City Council categorically denounce the comments made on Facebook in a Facebook post by Steven Knipp regarding the shooting of Charlie Kirk. This kind of political violence should be unacceptable no matter what. While we may have differing political and social beliefs, we believe no one in a position of leadership should cheer for or inflame violence. As the president of the Human Rights Commission, Mr. Knipp should be fully aware of this type of speech brings consequences. Therefore, we request that Mr. Knipp resign his position, or we will ask for a special meeting to discuss his removal of the commission. Okay? They put that forward. Moving on. The Muncie Republican Caucus, made up of bizarrely now Jerry Dishman, Brandon Garrett, Rose Selvey, Jeff Green, and Dale Basham, said the following. Muncie Republican City Council members' statement in response to Human Rights Commission President comments. We are extremely disturbed by the recent comments made by Steven Knipp on Facebook regarding the horrific murder of Charlie Kirk. His statement expressing hope for that this tragedy would not be the last, but only the first, is unacceptable and dangerous. Words like these are not harmless. They have consequences. They can incite violence, sow division, and cause lasting harm in our community. We want to echo the public statements of both the Delaware County Republican Chairman Tim Overton and Democratic Chairman Andrew Dale, who condemned Mr. Knipp's remarks. Their bipartisan rejection of such rhetoric make clear that this is not about politics. It is about protecting the safety and dignity of all people. As public leaders, we must embrace a code of conduct that goes beyond the bare minimum. As the Star Press editorially rightly noted, when public positions, our words can either build up or tear down. This truth cannot be ignored. Failure to uphold these values damage not just our individual reputations, but the public institutions we represent. It is especially troubling that Mr. Knipp serves as president of the Muncie Human Rights Commission, a role appointed by the City Council. Mr. Knipp was appointed with the expectation that he would represent the highest level of professionalism and uphold the principles of fairness, respect, equality. His recent remarks betray that trust and run contrary to the purpose of the Human Rights Commission. Because of this, we are publicly calling for him to resign immediately as president of the Human Rights Commission. The credibility of the commission and the confidence of our community in its work requires leadership that does not undermine its very purpose. Now more than ever, leaders must be voices for peace, responsibility, and accountability. We remain committed to ensuring that our cities, boards, and commissions reflect these values and that Muncie continues to move forward as a safe, respectful, and united community. If Mr. Knipp fails to resign by the end of business today, we are requesting City Council President call a special meeting as quickly as the law permits to discuss the removal of Mr. Knipp from the Human Rights Commission. Okay, after all of that, Steven made the following statement at the end of the day yesterday. To the Muncie community, it will come as no surprise to you that I am formally resigning my position as president of the Human Rights Council and distancing myself from the Human Rights Council so that they may continue to do their incredibly important work free from distraction and negative associations. I do not regret having an emotional reaction to a violent situation. Society is tense, injustice abound, emotions are paper thin. What I do regret is forgetting that beyond myself and my business, I represent an organization. Unlike most private citizens, the words I speak and the actions I take go beyond myself, and it was my duty to remember that heavy privilege. I failed. I let my own pain and frustration come to the surface, and the community swiftly responded. I respect that. I take full responsibility for my actions and accept the consequences that follow. Our society too often demand the oppressed silence, endure hate. Our society too often demands that the oppressed silently endure hate and violence, and criticizes them when they finally break and speak out. While I am resigning from the Human Rights Council, I encourage more members of the community to stand in my place, fill the gap, and advocate for human rights. So he made that statement. Okay. And I think that was definitely the right thing to do. Don't belabor it. Don't prolong it. Don't make it go on long and long and long and long. Okay. Here's where we're going to disagree. Since this has happened, there have been a couple of Ball State professors that have been targeted for their comments and their statements. Susan Swerk said this. Susan said the following comment. Let me be clear. If you think Charlie Kirk was a wonderful person, we can't be friends. His death is a tragedy, and I can and do feel for his wife and children. I believe in the resurrection, and while it's difficult, I can and do pray for his soul. Charlie Kirk's death is a reflection of the violence, fear, and hatred he sowed. It does not excuse his death, and it's a sad truth. The shooting is a tragedy, and I can and do feel for the college campus experiencing an active shooter situation. The deaths of Melissa and Mark Hortman and the children shot and killed in Minneapolis last month and the children shot in Colorado today are all tragedies that also deserve your attention. Charlie Kirk excused the death of children in the name of the Second Amendment. Okay. I want to start out by saying, first and foremost, I don't like what she's saying there. It's a weird statement. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 paragraphs, and I feel like in 3.5 of the paragraphs, she's talking about how she feels bad for this and it's a bad thing and she doesn't like it. And in the other half, she's calling out Charlie. I want to be very clear. This is not anything like what Stephen Knipp did. She nowhere in this statement did she cheer his death, and nowhere in this statement did she call for more death or more violence of any kind. She says, let me be clear, if you think Charlie Kirk is a wonderful person, we can't be friends. There's nothing wrong with that. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. She can think that way. She goes on and she says, his death is tragedy, and I can and do feel for his wife and children. Okay, that's a good statement. So we'll throw that out because that's a good statement. She says, I believe in the resurrection, and while it's difficult, I can and do pray for his soul. Okay, we can throw that statement out because there's nothing wrong there. She says, Charlie's death is a reflection of the violence, fear, and hatred he sowed. I don't agree with that. But that doesn't mean she doesn't have a right to say it. She posted this on her own Facebook time, on her own time on Facebook, not associated with the campus. And that's that. She then calls the shooting a tragedy, and she feels for the college campus experiencing this. There's nothing wrong with that. Throw that away. No, she's not saying he deserved it. No. Words matter. Listen. Words matter. She's not saying he deserved it. I specifically just said that. She's saying, I don't want to be friends with you if you like him. And it's his death is a reflection of the violence. That it's okay for her to say, like, I think he brought his death on because of what he preached. You don't have to agree with it. I don't agree with that. But that's not her saying, I want him to be dead. That's her saying, that's like saying this. That's like saying a drug. No, it's not saying he deserved it. Let me tell you something. Let me ask you this. A man is out slinging crack rock and he gets shot in a drive-by. His life is a reflection. His death is a reflection of his actions. That's not me saying I think that he deserves to be shot. It's saying, no, I don't believe it's saying it's a consequence. Maybe it is, but it's okay. It's okay for her to believe it's a consequence of his actions. That's not the same thing as saying, I wish that I'm okay with him dying. It's okay to say, listen, your actions are a result of what happens to you in life. You can agree or disagree, but it's not me saying, I'm not saying I hope that you die or I want you to die. I'm just saying she's not calling for more death. She's not calling for more death. She's not calling for more violence. She's doing it on her own time off of campus. And people are saying, well, she's a teacher and she's teaching the kids. No, she's not teaching kids. She's teaching adults that we send off to kill people in the military, adults that can vote, adults that, live out on their own. Now, yeah, I know 18-year-olds are not adults. I don't think that they are either. And whatever. Okay, they're kids. But in the grand scheme of things, in real life, they're adults. This is not like she's a teacher of fourth graders. Okay. Now, again, I don't believe that his death is a consequence of his belief. I think his death is a consequence of an insane person that doesn't like what he says. And that is not okay. It is not okay to kill people for that. That's crazy. That's insane. And the fact that I think she's a crazy person because she believes that. That's all. She's okay with that, though. I don't believe that she loses her job. I would not call for her to lose her job because, like Stephen Knipp, she has a First Amendment right. Stephen Knipp has a First Amendment right, too. He was a public official. He was appointed public official. Remember back to what I said, if he was not a public official, I would not have called for his resignation. I'm not asking for his hair salon to be closed. I'm simply saying I don't believe that he should be the president of the Human Rights Commission because he's cheering a death because of beliefs, and he's wishing for more death because of beliefs. This lady isn't calling for more death, and she's even sympathizing with his loss. She's saying she'll pray for him. She finds it hard, but she will pray for him. So I know it's tough, but listen, I've been arrested for words, man. And I had to stand up and fight that. I have fought for the First Amendment in 3 different federal civil rights cases. And I have to be, I gotta be, if I believe that Ryan Webb has the right to say that he believes there's 2 genders, and I do, I believe that she has a right to say, I don't want to be friends with you if you like Charlie. Okay, cool. I don't want to be friends with you either. Whatever. I think the biggest joke about all of this is that this woman, is the director of health promotions and advocacy. She doesn't look like the beacon of health promotions and advocacy. You know what I mean? So just FYI. Now, the other teacher, I don't know what she said. Everyone keeps sending me pictures of the other teacher, but I don't have the words. Can anybody point me to the words? Because I can't comment on her unless and until I see her words. I have not seen. And so this is the last thing I was going to close on. Well, let me find out. Is there anyone out there? Because I want to come back. I'm going to star this comment about Charlie believing gun deaths are worth it to have. That's not exactly right. And we'll go through it here in a minute. I'll come back to this. I'm going to star this. But I did something early. I want to know, is there anyone out there that can point me in a direction of the other teacher's words? Maybe somebody just sent it. All right, here we go. Feels like karma paid a visit. I mean, he condoned killing immigrants and trans people. That's not exactly true. He was quoted as saying mass shootings are the process you pay and win. That's exactly not true. See, words matter, man. They really matter. And so you can't say, you can't just completely change the words and add new words in and say this is a quote. It isn't. Okay. Don't go clutching your pearls. What the hell do you people expect? This is the beginning of the darkest period in our country's history. We have a rapist dictator and a Christian Taliban of white nationalists. Seriously, read the effing room. Listen. This person's insane. Feels like karma paid a visit. Feels like karma paid a visit. It's bad. I got to be honest. I still got to say that's not as bad as the guy. I still got to say that's not the same thing. That's not the same thing as if she feels. Let me go back to Steven's statements. Steven's statement. He deserved this. Yeah. I mean, she's not calling for more violence. She's not calling for more. Yeah. It's safe to say that these people are probably smart enough to not put it. I don't know why we're saying, if she's a college professor, she doesn't teach small children. I don't know why we're saying that. No, she does not teach small children. She is an assistant lecturer of elementary education. She's teaching people to be teachers. She's not teaching small children. These are college professors. They're teaching adults. I still got to say she's not calling for violence. Listen, I'm going to tell you this. If Steven's words were just, I feel he deserved this. I wouldn't have liked that. Maybe as a public servant, I still would have said he needs to go. But the biggest issue with Steven, in my opinion, is saying, I hope he's only the first. That's the problem. I hope he's only the first. Calling for more violence is the issue. And I don't believe that either of these teachers did. So I know that there are people being fired for saying, look, there are some people that are saying some honestly just crazy, unholy bullshit. And if those people get to go and lose a job and they have to face the consequences of their First Amendment right, then they're going to do that. You have a First Amendment right to speak. You can say words. That doesn't mean you won't necessarily feel some consequences depending on what those specific words are. So before we wrap up, we're going to wrap up. It's a Friday night, so you guys are cool. We're going to be done. Listen, you got to do more, Tweety Bird, than just Googling, what does Charlie Kirk say about the Second Amendment? So I want to tell you guys something. Let me see. There is this thing that's going around all over social media right now. It looks like this. It is it looks like it's typed on a typewriter, and it says Charlie Kirk's thoughts. Okay, listen. This is quote unquote all of Charlie Kirk's thoughts. Gay people should be stoned to death. Most people are scared when they see a black pilot flying a plane. Taylor Swift should reflect feminism and submit to her husband. Should reject feminism and submit to her husband. No one should be allowed to retire. Leftists should not be allowed to move to red states. British colonialism was what made the world decent. The guy who assaulted Pelosi should be bailed out. Religious freedom should be terminated. This is so stupid. Multiple black politicians stole white people's spots. MLK Jr. was an awful person. The Great Replacement Theory is reality. Hydroxychloroquine, whatever that medicine is, cures COVID. Vaccine requirements are medical apartheid. Gun deaths are acceptable in order to have a Second Amendment. Women's natural place is under their husband's control. Parents should prevent their daughters from taking birth control. George Floyd had it coming. The January 6th protesters didn't. The 1964 Civil Rights Act was a huge mistake. Encouraged parents to protect mask mandates. Mandami winning in New York is a travesty because Muslims did 9/11. Muslims only come to America to destabilize Western civilization. Palestine doesn't exist, and those who support it are like the KKK. Now, these these people are putting out all over social media saying these are Charlie Kirk's thoughts, that he said these at some point, that he feels these are what he teaches. Well, I'm going to tell you that I spent a couple of hours earlier going down through these line by line and Googling them, looking, cross-checking, going and watching videos. And I can tell you that every one of these was in some form or another taken out of major context, majorly taken out of context. Tweety Bird, I know I'm not talking, like, look, there's a lot of other people on here watching. I'm not talking directly to you. I'm talking to a wide audience. I'm not saying that you're using this. I'm saying that there are a lot of people on the left that are using this to say Charlie Kirk deserved to die because he says this. He feels this way. Go look. You can find it. A lot. Look. A lot of these people are your friends, I'm thinking. I mean, these people are local Democrats in Muncie and Delaware County that I'm seeing this. People have posted this in my comments. This isn't just weird stuff from the internet. This is stuff that people from Muncie are posting to say, look, Charlie Kirk is a piece of shit because he felt like this. Now, I want to be very clear. Charlie Kirk did not say gay people should be stoned to death. Charlie Kirk, when he stated this, when he was talking about this issue and where this came from, was an interview that he and another person were taking part in. And while they were in the interview, they were talking about homosexuality. And Charlie Kirk read the Bible quote talking about homosexuality. He read the Bible quote. He didn't say it. He read the Bible quote and talked about various parts of it from Leviticus. Yeah, I'm sure. Tweety Bird, at this point, yes, I'm talking directly to you. Yes, I went and I'm telling you, you got to do more than just Google, did Charlie Kirk say this? You got to look a little bit further than just, you got to go beyond it. You got to do some more further research. Okay? So I'm going to go down through this. I don't have time to hit and show you everyone. We'd be here for 4 more hours. Let me read through a couple of these, and then I'll go back and I'll show you this. So for another one, Taylor Swift should reject feminism and submit to her husband. Yeah, he said that. He absolutely said that. I'm going to tell you why he says this. He says that because that's his belief. He says this because he is a Christian conservative. He believes that the man is the leader of the home and the wife should. There's a lot of people that live that way. Look, if you don't live that way in your life, that's between you and your God. Okay? Do I believe that my mother and my stepfather are going to go to hell because my mom worked and was out of the home and they both contributed and they they have a partnership where she doesn't, she's not my mom's not a trad wife, not a traditional wife. No, I don't believe that my mom and my stepfather are going to go to hell. My mother still believes that, she in her ways submits to her husband. She cooks dinner, not all the time. Sometimes she feels like it. Sometimes she doesn't, but they have a very, 50-50 type of partnership. But, I don't have a problem with him believing that that's how he believes. And that's how he and his wife lived. and he believes in his mind that that is beneficial for the American family, I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't certainly believe that he should die because he believes that. The other one down here saying, so we can tie the other one to it. We can get rid of it. A woman's natural place is under her husband's control. Yeah, that ties into the Taylor Swift one. So we've got rid of those two. Yeah, he believes that. Yeah, I'm sure he probably believed in that hydroxychloroquine was something strong for COVID. There's a lot of people that believe that. Again, I don't think you need to take a bullet to your carotid artery because you believe hydroxychloroquine can help you with COVID. Okay, coming on down here, where the one that says, if I saw a black man on an airplane, I would be afraid or whatever. I would be scared. Most people are scared. He did not say that. He did not say that. Okay. Yes, Tweety Bird, you are absolutely right. Google will bring up multiple sources, not just the ones you want. You've got to go through a bunch of different sources. And probably the best things to watch are not things that people have wrote, but actually go to the videos and listen. What people are doing is they're taking a 3-hour Charlie Kirk video. They are chopping it down to 15 seconds and saying, bam, there he did. He said he's afraid of black people. What he said in the black people quote there was that there was a point in time in his life that if he would have got on an airplane, he would never have thought about the people flying the airplane. He would have never thought if they were black or white. None of that mattered. And if he would have seen that there was a black pilot, he wouldn't have thought anything about it. But, and this is him, this is not me, so don't shoot the messenger. And see, someone could take this out of context and use what I'm getting ready to say and be like, look what Bilbrey said. Because all I'm telling you is what happened in the video. So he says, after the Democrats put in DEI and affirmative action became such a hot topic thing, and CEOs of airlines were saying, I don't put the best air traffic controller in the seat. I put the next black man in the seat, whether he's best or not. If I have two air traffic controllers up for a job, and one of them is white and one of them is black, and the white guy happens to be better at his job, I will put the black guy in because I have to. And the same thing with the pilots. Charlie said because of that, that has made people, not necessarily himself, but it's made him and other people think, oh my God, is this person the best qualified, or is this a DEI hire? And Charlie said, I don't like thinking that way. I shouldn't think that way. It should be that when I walk on the plane and see that Indian man, I see that Mexican, I see the black man, I see that lesbian, I see the woman, I see the man, I know they're in that seat because they're the best damn person flying the airplane, not because they checked some box to make somebody feel good. That is not saying most people are scared when they see a black pilot flying. See, you got to take the full context of the conversation. Okay. 1964 Civil Rights Act was a huge mistake. He didn't just say, well, man, 1964 civil rights was a huge mistake. Black people suck. Okay, good night, goodbye. He said, the problem, the idea of putting minorities, poor people, getting them in this situation where they believe that they are dependent upon the government. They're sucking from the government teat. That they are put in this in this situation where it becomes a never-ending circle of which came first, the chicken or the egg. You're running in this rat race. And a lot of this happened during the civil rights movement when they start moving the black people to the ghettos and start putting them all down here and start giving them all government handouts and making sure that, you know, the father in the home wasn't the priority. And doing all of that was a problem, was a mistake. Giving them the ability to work on their own and build up and having personal responsibility would have been a much better thing. That's what he said. There was more nuance to the conversation. But what this person did was they said, Charlie Kirk said the 1964 Civil Rights Act was a huge mistake. All I'm saying is Charlie Kirk never went to a college, set up a whole big thing, had 1,400 people RSVP, had another 2,000 people show up, and said, okay, people, I'm going to do 15 seconds worth of content, and then we're out of here. He never did that. He never sat down at a podcast and said, okay, I'm going to talk for roughly 2 minutes, and then we're out of here. He sat down for an hour, 2, 3 hour show. People then cut the shit out of those shows and made them say all kinds of crazy shit. Like they do with Trump and the very fine people. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. When Trump in North Carolina, when they say that Trump said the very fine people, quote, 1,000% he did not say very fine people. He said a lot of other words intermixed with that, and they trimmed it down to make it their selling point. These list of things that people are posting as fact is not factual. But just again, let's say Charlie Kirk is a bad guy. Let's say he is a bad guy and he believed every single one of these things and he spewed this out. Still not okay to kill him. It's weird how that works. So that's that. I will say, I do want to talk. The last thing I'm going to say, I do want to talk about this Second Amendment quote. Because this is again, I don't know. I don't understand what people aren't understanding about this. Charlie Kirk was talking about the idea that bad things are going to happen and there are lots of people that are killed in car accidents every year. Some of them are just stupid accidents. Some of them are road rage. Some of them are drunk driving. Lots of different things. People are killed. Lots of men, women, children, black people, Hispanics, gay people, you name it, all over the dial, people, spectrum, political belief, people are killed in automobile accidents. Lots. But it's still just a small, very minuscule drop in the bucket compared to the people that use motor vehicles for good, like ambulances that take people to the hospital, and buses that take you to go see your family across the country, and your car that helps you get to work every day and all of that. And so there's this idea that creeped up in America at some point where people said, you know, there's this kind of trade-off in our minds where we as a society will accept a certain amount of bad shit happening with these motor vehicles because the trade-off of having the motor vehicle makes too much sense. We could get rid of the motor vehicles and those people wouldn't die in motor vehicle accidents. But then that wouldn't make any sense. Give me 1 second here. Okay. I'm going to pull this up.
That you're not going to get gun deaths to zero. It will not happen.
Right.
You can significantly reduce them through having more fathers in the home,
Yes.
by having more armed guards in front of schools.
Yes.
We should have an honest and clear reductionist view of gun violence, but we should not have a utopian one. You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. Nobody talks like this. They live in a complete alternate universe.
Sure.
So we need to be very clear that you're not going to get gun deaths to zero. It will not happen.
Right.
You can significantly reduce them through having more fathers in the home,
Yes.
by having more armed guards in front of schools.
Yes.
We should have an honest and clear reductionist view of gun violence, but we should not have a utopian one. You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational.
So let me tell you what that sounds to me like. Let me tell you what I hear there. I hear President Trump. I hear President Joe Biden. I hear Anthony Fauci. I hear all the liberals that were cheering for me and other people to die because we didn't get vaccinated. I hear people saying, you know what? This COVID vaccine is going to kill people. There are going to be people that are going to die. There are going to be people that are going to get blood clots from this. There are going to be kids that get it and die. There are going to be young, middle-aged people. There are going to be some deaths from this vaccine. But I think it's worth it for the greater good. There's a lot of stuff that we do for the greater good. There's a lot of stuff that the Democrats push for the greater good. That's what he's saying. Yeah, it might be a little tough to hear, but it's the truth. It's absolutely the truth. And it's not AI. Charlie Kirk said what he said. You heard what he said. But it's within a context That's not him walking out of his house in the morning and some news reporter walked up and said, "Hey, what about the Second Amendment?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's good that some kids die. It's worth it. Goodbye." Yeah. Nah. Tweety Bird says, "I can't believe that you believe that." You can't believe that I believe what? You can't believe that I believe that there's been a situation in the world where they've said it's better for us to have the vehicle. It's better for us to have the vehicle. And some people die than not have the vehicle. You think it's weird that I believe that? You think it's weird that I believe that the medical institutions said, some people are going to die from this vaccine, but I didn't like it. But I'm just saying I don't have a problem with Charlie Kirk saying this. I believe it. I believe this. I'm in line with him. I can't get enough guns. And as far as I'm concerned, the ATF and the Supreme Court just ruled that I was just in a gun shop talking to Roger Overby the other day, and I forget what the hell he called it, but it's the closest thing that you can get to being an automatic gun, an automatic rifle, based off the trigger, a repeating, I forget what it's called. I'll have to check with him, but I can tell you, I'm going to get one of those really quickly. It's going to be fantastic. Not enough guns, not enough time, not enough guns. So, Tweety Bird, I love you. I love you. I respect you. I agree with you sometimes. Sometimes I think you're nuttier than something that's really nutty. But love you. But yeah, this was obviously going to be. Look, I was not confused. I knew you weren't going to like Charlie Kirk, and I knew. And I told you the other day, it wasn't like Charlie Kirk's one of my favorite people. I didn't listen to every single thing that he's ever done. He wasn't in the whole spectrum of conservative talk people. There's a lot of shit to listen to. I also listen to a lot of liberal talk. I watch all those news stations that you talk about, all the good ones, all the bad ones. They're all bad. I listen, I read, I take in as much content from all angles as possible. Left, right, libertarian, up, down, fascist, out of this country, in the country. I take it all in. And I hodgepodge my beliefs from everything that I hear. But that's that. Yeah, I really wish, Tweety, the one thing that the not even your weird views, the most irritating thing about you is that you continue to talk in 2 and 3 word sentences without much context behind what you're saying. I wish that you would give opinions. So let me ask you, are we any more sick than are we sick because we're saying, man, it really sucks that Charlie Kirk died for his beliefs, but the people cheering and jumping up and down and calling for more people? Let me ask you something, Tweety Bird. This is the very last thing I'm going to say. Should I be killed because of my beliefs? You don't agree with them. I know you're going to say no, and I know you wouldn't believe that. And I'm sure you would be upset if I was. I would hope to think you would be. But I think it's interesting that, number one, they're saying that searches for conservative hosts, conservative podcasts, conservative radio, Republican issues are surging right now. There are more people seeking out Republican conservative information than has been since before Charlie's death. Subscriptions are going up. Our subscriptions have went up. Other people's subscriptions are going up. This is a mass movement. The man who is asking Charlie Kirk a question as he was being killed, the man who was asking Charlie a question, he went on CNN today. He went on CNN today, and he said, I was asking my question. He said, I respect Charlie. He said, I don't agree with him. I'm on the opposite side, or I was. And I was trying to ask a question to show him that the left isn't violent. And at the very moment I'm trying to prove that point, someone shoots him in the throat because of his beliefs. And that guy said, like, yeah, I'm now questioning things. So, very interesting. Very interesting how that is. Tweety Bird, you're taking it at too much of a micro level. It's not anyone running around saying, we think that children should die, and I'm glad it's a blood sacrifice to the guns. The guns. The guns. I gotta get out my blood sacrifice hat. Ooh. Nobody's saying that. Nobody is saying that. I didn't say they were, Tweety Bird. I said the guy asking the question was, man. Sometimes you get lost. The forest gets lost for all the trees sometimes, I think, man. Nobody's saying we're happy, we think it's good that children get killed. You know what they need to do? They need to put guns in the hands of every teacher in the school. They need to train all of them. They need to give them a sidearm on the hip if they want, and they need to give them a rifle, break in case of emergency in the school. And I tell you, there would never be another child casualty again. No, Tweety Bird, good God. All right. Well, no one's making fun of it. I'm making fun of you because you're failing to see, because this is the problem. They shouldn't have to. They shouldn't have to. They shouldn't have to. But you know what? That's where we are now. It's got nothing to do with the guns, man. We could go back to Flintlock and to musket ball, and people are still so you want to take the guns that go really fast. That's what you're saying. So as long as the guns don't shoot really fast, then we'll be good, right? That's all that matters. Great. That's fine. I'm good. I'm happy. You shouldn't get over it. No one should get over it. No one should get over kids being killed. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with people not getting over the death of children. We should never get over it. We should always remember it. But I don't know. So, all right, people, that's it. It's been a good show, long show, great conversations, some crazy conversations. No children were hurt in the making of this podcast. And no black people were not allowed to fly planes either. So we're all good. You guys have a good weekend. Have a wonderful tomorrow. Keep your eye on the news, what's going on. What you need to do is you need to use discernment, and don't just read a word and say, oh, that's got to be it. You got to look at the lower context, and don't just take my word for it. I'm crazy making fun of kids dying. So, it's crazy around here. Let's see here. Well, that is true, Kate. All right, you guys, take care. God bless each and every one of you. I love Tweety Bird. We just didn't agree all the way tonight, and that's what's great about America. I definitely don't want Tweety Bird to die because of her opinion, and I sure hope she doesn't want me to die because of my opinion. And Charlie Kirk shouldn't have died because of his, and I'm glad they caught him. I'm glad they caught Sumner. I'm glad they caught the woman, and I can't wait till we hear about the payouts for everybody. You guys take care. Have a good night. God bless each and every one of you. We will be back here Sunday night, so tune in, God willing. Episode 523 will be right here. You guys take care, and peace. I think. Oops, let me do this. I did it wrong. All right, good night.